Uh, yep, okay.飲多啲啦，飲多啲啦，我心情好快啲去呀。飲多啲啦，飲快啲啦，而家2點我哋可以玩快啲啦。飲多啲啦，飲多啲啦，我心情好快啲去呀。飲多啲啦，飲快啲啦，而家2點我哋可以玩多啲啦。
Yes, yes, and we are live. Hello. Welcome to Coffee with Curtis. This is officially episode 1. I'm going to go ahead and title this episode Yellow Magic. Because that's exactly what this is about right here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to my two lovely guests we have on the show today. Both, my sisters from another misters. First up, my Siren sister, the lovely, the one and only Aylya Marzolf. We're gonna go boom.
Hi.
Miss Fresh Freckles in the house. Actress, model, fellow Sirener, incredible mother, and DIY extraordinaire.
That's definitely true.
And then we have Sherry Cola in the house.
What it do?
Comedian, personality extraordinaire. And I love you because you are, honestly, I love seeing you out and about because you are such a breath of fresh air. You are so consistently and unapologetically and authentically you. You are the most you person that exists on this planet, obviously, but also like, you know what I mean. You're
Curtis!
You.
Curtis, just like we rehearsed. Thank you. Thank you for reading the script that I emailed you. I'm excited, boo. This is your first episode, Coffee with Curtis. And Yellow Magic reminds me of my stripper days. So thank you for that nostalgia.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. We're going to be deep diving in our pasts, our presents, future. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So we're here. Thank you so much for being here and showing up on time, both of you, minus Sherry. But
wow. First of all, he kept me outside of the club for like 7 minutes.
That's what you
I
get.
was spending $20 bills. I was dropping names, and I couldn't get into the Zoom.
But we're here, and part of the reason I never wanted to do this, first and foremost. Ask Aylya. I was contemplating this idea. It felt like weeks, but really it was months. Never really wanted to do anything kind of like long form like this, especially on YouTube. But what's like the number one thing we say in Hollywood? Not even in Hollywood, but in life. It's always like, oh, let's get a coffee sometime. Oh, we should do coffee. We should do drinks. And often, we never get around to doing it, especially during lockdown, during COVID. So I thought this could be a great opportunity to finally get to have that coffee and to catch up, connect, and have some wicked conversations. Because you two are both people that I enjoy talking to. I don't get, to talk enough to, but I'm really glad we're here. So let's get into it.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yes. Cheers. Let's catch up. What do you guys sipping? Coffee, tea?
First of all, this is water, yo. I haven't had coffee.
God.
No, I'm actually in shock. Sorry to break the facade, but I'm actually in shock that I haven't had coffee like all of quarantine. Because usually I'm such a basic bitch that I buy coffee. We don't even have a machine here. So like, I know, but I am disrespectful. Because usually like I drink it just if it's there, but I don't need it. I mean, you know me, I don't need it. You know what I mean? So I'm just drinking water to get.
There goes you again.
There goes me.
It stunts your growth anyways. Allow it. We don't need it.
It's just water.
Cool. So what have you guys been up to? Obviously, we'll get into a few other things, but shit's been crazy. The things are definitely happening, but you guys are both here and you guys are both in great spirits. I love seeing that. You guys are okay? You guys are good?
Yeah.
I've just been, watching a bunch of stuff, writing a bunch of stuff. I May Destroy You on HBO is brilliant. Have y'all seen that one?
Say again?
I May Destroy You on HBO.
I May Destroy You.
It's like it's this raw piece of art. But yeah, I've just been watching stuff, you know? I don't know. Eating too much.
Is that the British show, I May Destroy You?
Mhm.
Love that show. Oh my God. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have the opposite experience. I have watched basically nothing, had no time to write anything. I hear all these people talking about like, oh my goodness, I've watched all of Netflix. Oh, if I read another book, and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so good. How do I get some of that?
So
Well, you have a son. You're a mother, boo.
yeah,
and
what's been keeping you
and
busy?
it's a little tough.
Mm-hmm.
I did for my birthday. I took 4 days off and went to an Airbnb and just like I binge watched Natural People.
Oh.
Normal
people.
Normal people. I was like, that doesn't sound right. I binge watched Normal
Give you the
People.
benefit of the doubt. I was like, Natural People sounds
Yeah.
pretty granola, but I'm into it.
Which was fantastic. And then I read like almost a whole book that week,
Hey,
and it was great.
there you go.
I
How
respect
old-
that. I respect that.
How old is Cassius right now?
6.5. He's almost 7. He'll be 7 in November.
That's got to be the toughest age to have a kid that age and to keep him or her contained in the space, right? Because they're old enough now where he's his own person. He knows how to get what he wants and stuff like that.
I'm really lucky that he's like a really good kid. Like I like my coffee a certain way, and he makes my coffee every morning.
That's cool.
Oh my goodness.
He like lets me sleep, and then he'll go make coffee and bring it up, and we'll cuddle for a bit, and we'll get up and we'll go make breakfast. And so in the very beginning, I was like super mom. We were like baking every day, cooking something brand new. We redid the garden. We planted all this stuff. We've been learning sign language, which we've been doing consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Just like I just was like so on it, like reading so much. And then like I hit a wall. Because like we try not to watch TV in my house. I try not to do too much screen time. Like normally it's like a movie on a weekend or something.
Mm-hmm.
And as of the last month, there's definitely been a lot more like, just go watch something. It's fine. Just go watch something. It's fine. Just go watch something.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like a very like a bizarre amount of time to be spending with your child that you don't normally. You know what I mean? Like a lot of moms, I'm like, wow, superheroes. Y'all are superheroes.
For real. Because you do it all. You're mom, you're the teacher, you're the cook, you're the security guard, you're the PE teacher now.
Yeah.
I mean, you do that all anyways, but to have to do that 24/7,
it's definitely been interesting. We love each other very much. But he's going to Missouri in a few weeks to to do like a horseback riding camp with my dad.
Mm.
And that's 2 weeks is the longest I've ever been away from him his whole life. And the 2 weeks was for work. And even that was very, very hard and very difficult. But like this time we have a very different attitude about it. It's like, you're going to have so much fun. Have fun. Yeah. When is it? Is it tomorrow yet? No. Okay. 3 more weeks. Okay. Right. It's going to be great. Right. No, like, oh, I'm going to miss you so much. This is going to be so hard. We're like, Go on with your bad self. Go ahead.
Right.
It's so funny because I feel like I'm picturing him almost as an adult at this point. Just like, gotta get away. Gotta get out the house. You know what I mean?
Chain smoking, like, oh.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Like he definitely is like, I'm gonna go make my own breakfast. And I'm like, okay. And then he goes to the garden and he makes himself lunch most days. He picks stuff from the garden and makes his own salad. And so I taught him how to use a knife. So now he'll like cut the vegetables and like make his own little salad. Sometimes it's an interesting concoction, but he eats it and he likes it. So
you're killing it.
Wow. Okay, you win.
Killing it.
You win.
He's healthier than me. It's fine.
Yeah, no, he's gonna be truly special. I mean, he is special, but I mean, he's gonna grow up to be one fine gentleman.
Yeah. It's pretty, we've been having, I mean, obviously all this time, there's a lot of time for conversation and like maybe TMI, but he'll be on the toilet and be like, Mommy, can you come in here? Can we have a conversation? I'm like, sure, okay. And so it's been really cool to see, like, I've told him that my job as his mom is to raise him to be a good adult. Like, my job is not to make you happy. I want to make you happy, not my job. My job is to keep you alive and make you a good adult.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, we've, you know, with all the stuff that's going on in the world with COVID and Black Lives Matter and
Right.
just everything that's going on, and how I feel like this movement has opened things up just for like for people to be inclusive
Right.
of everything, while the focus being what is happening to Black lives in America, has opened all these really cool conversations. And he's 6, but he gets so much of it when we talk about it. And it's like, it is like he's this little adult. Like, I've better and like more understanding conversations with him than some adults that I've met in the past few months. Like,
does he have a pretty does he have a grasp at that age of race and all of that?
he's definitely still like building his identity. And like in my household, it's never been necessarily like the word race. It's always been about like where you're from or your background.
Mm-hmm.
Like I grew up in Indonesia in an international school, and like where we all came from was a cool thing. Like the fact that you came from somewhere different than me was really cool. Like, what can I learn about where you came from?
Right.
And it was never like a judgment passed based on either the color of your skin or where you're from or any of that. So that's kind of like what I've tried to instill in him. And he knows that he is Black and Japanese and white and a little bit Native American. And so he's still finding his own like identity and how he identifies with each of those backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he's definitely like aware. And this is probably the first time that like he is becoming very aware of racism, period. Because, you know, he has the privilege that he is mixed, so he has lighter skin, he has light eyes, he has like curly mixed hair, and he's very cute. And, you know, I live in a pretty decent neighborhood, and he goes to a private school. So like he is not subject to a lot of that yet. And, you know, but he is aware that things like that happen. And
you took him to you know, I love you guys, especially because of how you know, outspoken you guys have been, and how, you know, you guys have been such champions and I think great models as far as like being allies and whatnot. You guys have both been very active and, like I said, outspoken, and you guys have been at all of the rallies and all that kind of stuff. You took him to a few of them, right?
I did. I took him. I'm so mad. Sherry was there and I didn't see her. I like,
yeah. Which one was that?
It was a while ago. It was the Asians for Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Lots of people.
What was
were
that?
there.
Just, I mean, without spending too much time on it, but like, how was that? How was it? Sherry, you went to quite a few of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How would you put into words like the difference, if there was any difference, between, say, the Asians for Black Lives and then one of the more, you know, proper?
Right. I will say that I prefer and I suggest going to the Black Lives Matter organization or the Bill Power ones, because they have been doing this for years. You know, it's extremely organized. And I've never organized a protest. Like, this is not an overnight thing. It takes weeks of planning, maybe months, you know? So I definitely think there's a lot of them going on, you know? There's still to this day. And it's people showing support and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, and I'll show up to a few of them that aren't BLM, of course, you know? But I think I suggest going to the BLM organized ones. You know what I mean? The official ones, only because those are more structured, if you will. I feel like the Asian one was a little, what's going on? I was like, what's happening? There was no leadership.
Clear kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It definitely was like that.
I mean,
Right.
I was sort of living vicariously through you guys. I was really upset that I couldn't make it, especially because, you know, I was very active in terms of my day-to-day engagements with people, and then also online and whatnot. And I definitely wanted to at least make it out to a few of them. But I mean, our block was pretty hot, and just the tensions, even within our own building in our neighborhood, was high and heavy. But there was a bit of a family thing that came up, so flights were sort of dropping every day.
Sure.
And there was only one flight leaving LAX to where, my girl and I wanted to go to. So we had to take that flight. And I'm glad we did, because, they were just being, like I said, canceled. And the prices you would think that flights would be cheap right now because no one's flying, but it's actually the opposite. Flights are mad expensive right now.
Right.
So anyways, I was on the plane, and I was, and now I'm overseas in London, but I was watching you guys. I was like, oh man, I wish I was there with you guys in solidarity,
I mean, you were there in spirit, and of course,
What?
protesting comes in many forms. You were posting about things, you were educating your followers, you know what I mean? A little does go a long way, and you don't need to physically be at protests, Some people are really still concerned about COVID, and as much as they want to be in solidarity, as much as they feel passionate about the movement, like, they don't want to get sick, which is totally understandable, and so they post on social media, and that really is like very effective as well, so you're doing the work, brother.
Thank you.
There's lots of different lanes. You don't have to do all of them. If you're having the conversations, you're educating people, and you're standing up and like making it a point to like follow through on the things that you're posting and that you're saying, instead of just like, then you're doing it. If you go to not a single protest, honestly, with the exception of like, I feel like people like us who are actors, and there are people who follow us on social media, and we do have a following. I feel like it is a duty for us to be posting on social media and educating people through that. But for the people who don't, like, if you're not posting on social media and you're not active that way, as long as you're having the conversations, you're standing up when you need to, and like actively doing that in your life and walking the walk, not just talking the talk, then that's great.
Yeah.
Like that in itself is a big thing. That's the biggest part.
Mm-hmm. Those. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
No. Curtis, go.
I was gonna say, I am really appreciative of this happening simultaneously with COVID, because it's allowed us the time to kind of sit back and to really sit on it. Should you want to, right? And I mean, we talked about this, Sherry, on the IG Live a little bit, but like, it was nice to actually kind of be called out myself, and then to also kind of really take a step back and look at my own biases, especially in the Asian community.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Aylya, you're half Japanese, or half Japanese, half white.
Yeah.
Okay. Sherry, you're Shanghai.
100% Chinese, Shanghainese till I die.
Hundo P. Beep, 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 beep,
Wait,
beep.
what was that? Hondo P?
Hundo P.
Hondo P. Hondo P. Hunduo.
100%.
Oh, Hondo P. I thought you were freaking speaking Chinese to me. I was like, Hondo P. Big butt? I was like, no, that's Handa Pigu. Anyway, Hondo P.
I've done a movie in Mandarin, and I swear to God, the whole thing, I just said the lines as quickly as possible, and then thank God the white producers, they just bought it. They were like, oh yeah, that sounds legit. All right, cut, we got it. I don't even know what the fuck I said. I was just like, and they're like,
right,
nice.
right. That was, but yeah, I'm 100% Chinese, and you're right. We do have, human beings. We have biases. You know what I mean? That's just in general. But yeah, especially in our communities, it especially now with COVID and the civil rights movement happening simultaneously. It's such an eye-opening experience, and like I even had conversations with my parents about things. My mom is very just like happy to be here, works hard, to support her family. I mean, her family is my family, but you know what I mean? The point is, she's all about working hard.
Yeah.
And she's not aware of these issues in the world. She kind of just goes about her life, about her day. But I'm like, I need to like educate her and just give her the history of America even. Like, I don't even think she knew that much. The fact that like the reason why protests are happening, like literally protests were the reason why a lot of things are the way they are now, like women voting even, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. And it's important for us to have those uncomfortable conversations, because for so long we just, we're like, our Asian parents, it is what it is. There's no, it's a lost cause. You know what I mean? But like,
And you
you
don't
have
talk
to at
about
least
it.
try.
You don't talk about it. You just
Right.
keep going. You put your head down and you work. And it's funny because we so many of us, whether we like to admit it or not, we really can go through a big chunk of life just living in our bubbles, right? Like even my own grandmother, because I know I've seen it with my grandfather. Like I've been front row to seeing my grandfather like get into some squabbles or some fights with people over some racist shit. But I finally sat down with my grandmother recently, and I was trying to pull all of these stories from her because I was like, yeah, give it to me all. Like I want to write something around you, And she was telling me about how she came over, in the to Vancouver in the '70s from Hong Kong and stuff like that, and how difficult it was for her, with 5 kids, trying to hold down a job, this and that, not speaking a lick of English, and And I was like, oh yes, give it to me. I was like, and you must have experienced so much racism at that time. And she was like, racism? No, not really. No, never had that in my life. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, no. And I realized that like she's never really been outside of her own kind of bubble of Chinatown. She's never like met a black person in her life. You know what I mean? She's never really talked to many white people. So it's like, oh, fascinating. She's been in Vancouver since the '70s. So like, almost 50 years now, and she still doesn't speak a lick of English. Never had. I just thought that was so fascinating.
Aylya Marzolf lived in Panama for a long time, and then she lived in Hawaii, which is where like most of my childhood with her was spent. And yeah, she didn't speak any English at the end. She passed away around Christmas, and at the end, all she spoke was Spanish and Japanese. And so, yeah, it's just crazy to think that like she's living in Hawaii is the way Spanish is here, Japanese is there. So like she was able to live in a bubble and still get by every day, not speaking English whatsoever.
Yeah, I definitely see the whole bubble thing. Just like, me, I'm from the 626 San Gabriel Valley. So like, that's not far from here, LA. It's not far from LA. It's like maybe 30 minutes, but it is definitely a bubble. A lot of Asians. And I'm proud of being Asian. You know what I mean? Like, hell yeah. But just seeing the social media of like, oh, they are not even close to being as actively aware about the issues going on right now. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's because, they aren't exposed to the people that I've been exposed to, the conversations I've been exposed to. And, they're still in that bubble. You know what I mean? And I feel like we're lucky to be in entertainment because these conversations are more open. You know what I mean? I feel like the entertainment industry is like very, very like in tune with these, what's right and the power of the people, like truly, you know what I mean? Like the fact that we can make a difference, especially with our platforms, etc. Because a lot of entertainers are also activists. But the point is, I absolutely get the whole bubble thing. Like you almost don't understand, like, how are they not, shook by this? But because they don't know this world, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Now, are you still actively doing stand-up?
I've done virtual shows, and they're fun.
Yeah.
But it's been a minute because I've been busy. I don't know what the hell that means. But I was supposed to do one last Thursday, but something came up. I'm like, what am I doing? But literally somehow things come up. Anyway, I'm still open to them. You know what I mean? I'm just out here because that's something that I do need to constantly exercise. Doing stand-up is like going to the gym. And of course, there's so much material right now.
For sure.
But then again, like every comedian is thinking that. We're all, experiencing this exact same thing. I'm very curious to see what the jokes will be when we get back, because I'm the fact that I'm damn near about to, seduce my Postmates delivery guy. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be very interesting. So I've been trying to be honest, I could be better at writing new material. I've been more focused on writing scripts, just trying to finish things that I've started in the last few years, you know what I mean? because I really have no excuse. So just sitting down and kind of writing things in that regard, but stand up for life.
Let me ask you this. I mean, and you're a fantastic comic, by the way. And actually, how I met you was actually through Aylya in recommending me to go to your night at the Laugh Factory.
Right. Cause I just met Aylya literally that Monday. It was like,
I went to the Improv to see my
Right.
friend Granison, and you were there, and I was like, she is fucking hilarious. And then I was like, hey, we're both on Freeform.
oh yeah.
And I remember I showed up and just with Fala, and we just gave you guys so much love. But man, we were blown away by, because it was an all Asian night. It was like an Asian.
Was that the one with Ronnie Chang? No.
It was. That was the first time I saw Ronnie Chang, and I died. I think I
Nice.
pulled something that night. I was hurting after.
Nice. Yeah, that was a good night. And that's the first night I met Ronnie Chang. And he was like, you're funny. And then cut to like 6 months later, I'm opening for his Netflix taping. So it's just like, and all of this is the theme of Asians supporting Asians. You know what I mean? Like right when I saw Aylya like outside and we met, I was like, yo, this is amazing. Freaking community, sisterhood. You know what I mean? And then I think you accidentally DM'd me, Curtis, because you saw my post about Laugh Factory and you replied to it, but I think you meant to send it to someone else with that message. So then I got it. I was like, yo, yeah, come through. Here's a link for like cheap tickets or whatever the hell. So the point is, it's like, just because I've seen too many times where Asians will see each other in a room and they clearly know each other, but they don't say hi. And I'm like, why are we faking the funk here? Why are we acting like our shit doesn't stink? Like, I'm always the first to come up to you and be like, yo, I know you, I'm blah, blah, blah. You're killing it. Keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? And then connections and community. And to be honest, like, I'm sorry, you know me, I'm preaching too much. This water just kicked in. And honestly, that's something. Whoa, what the? I'm dead. Oh, cutery. And that's another example of Asians supporting Asians at the Always Be My Maybe premiere. You know what I mean? And like that, and someone like Randall Park and Ali Wong, like they are examples of nothing is overnight. Like Ali Wong, I used to watch her on Chelsea Lately on the Round Table when no one really knew her name. And Randall Park, he was on Wild and Out. Like literally, this is like. These people have been grinding for years, hustling for years, and finally they're given the respect and attention they deserve. You know what I mean? So it's very inspiring to have those people lead the way and be pioneers for the three of us, you know? That's just that on that.
I love that you brought that up though, because and we've spoken about this before as well. Like, you know, certainly where I come from, in my community, this was not always the case where we would all come together and really be a kind of support group, right? I mean, Hollywood trickled all the way down, all the way to Vancouver, all the way to New York, whatever. I mean, it seems like for a lot of actors in our generation, there was this kind of like, there can only be one mentality, right? Mm-hmm. And for me personally, it's only been maybe within the last 5-6 years that I had that shift. It all started at one audition where like me and kind of my contemporaries, right? The guys that I always see in the room, we were never friends before. And it was this one particular project that we all went out for that none of us wanted to get. It took that like arbitrary kind of random sort of thing for us to all kind of click and go, wait a second. And then it was at this place, this new casting office that none of us had been to. It was a brand new spot, and the walls were paper thin. So we got to hear each other's reads. And it was the funniest thing, because it was the first time where we were all laughing like together at each other, with each other, and realizing that we were all so different. We couldn't be more different, even though we were always the guys pegged up against each other.
Right.
That was what sparked our friendship. And from there, that changed everything. Mm-hmm. I'd like to say that changed everything, because I think, certainly for myself anyways, I didn't look at these guys as competition anymore. I looked at these guys as friends, as well as just guys. We're just all trying to get by, and we're all just trying to create and share our love and just be successful. And we started from that day on, we started supporting each other. And so anyways, I'm on a tangent, but long story short, what I love about you two and what I love about every event that I've seen you at is that there's always been that love. You know what I mean? Coming from Vancouver, not knowing anybody in any scenes, let alone the Asian scene, you know, you were one of the few people that really embraced me and took me in like as if we had been friends from time, you know. And this picture is a wonderful example of that. That night, you know, I don't know if you remember this, but I mean, it was epic for me because there were some pretty big names in the house. There definitely could have been some sort of stargazing and sort of weird vibes, like, oh my God, it's them, and you know, there's us and them vibes. But it was everyone on the dance floor having, you know, a gay old time, just partying up, right? And it was beautiful. I think I have, Aylya, I have another, where is it here?
First of all, I think I'm lit. You definitely have Asian glow in that photo, brother.
This is us in the car after it.
Wait, I can't see that. I'm definitely sweating from the dancing that was happening.
I'm very greasy as well. I'm very greasy.
Can you guys see this video or no?
No, we can't see it. I don't see it.
Ah, I see.
Hear the music though. Yeah, you know, Curtis, to your point, like it's interesting the shift of realizing, oh, my heroes are now sort of my peers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And oh, we're all at this party and it's chill. Like I don't have to be weird or starstruck. Of course I am starstruck, but like also they might want to talk to me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And we all have a piece in this thing, no matter where we're at, you know, and that's kind of what I realized. And this was us after that wonderful night. We were buzzing.
Oh yes.
That was a very fun night.
I play that song like at least twice a week. It's just so good.
Oh, so you know, last week there was karaoke and I definitely sang, why can I not remember the name of the song right now? But Mandy Moore from A Walk to Remember, I sang that song.
Yes.
My Only Hope, is that what it's called?
Only Hope?
Maybe, I don't remember what the song's called.
Or
but
Cry, or freaking all of them, because literally I'm obsessed with A Walk to Remember. Like
I know.
I could start a podcast like based on A Walk to Remember. Also to half make fun of it too. But yes, no, it's all about celebrating with some singing, yo, because that night was dope, and that's gonna be us soon, you know, like our movie premieres and our, you know, like it's gonna be, and I believe it wholeheartedly, which is why it's easy for me to just like let go of competition and like empower each other only, you know, because nowadays if I see someone, and once again I'm pretty green in this industry, you know, I haven't been around officially in this industry for that long, so you know I didn't experience the times where it was a little less representation, you know? And we're at this time where there's so much progress. Of course, there could be mountains more. Fire trucks, hold for sound. But my point is, like, nowadays, if I see, you know, another Asian girl in an audition room, instead of like, damn, they're gonna give it to her, I'm like, yo, hell yeah. Who are you? I want to know you. We're in this together. Like, if you get it, it's a win for all of us, you know? So I think that's the best place to be, and it's only gonna get better and better from here. Like, we're gonna be.
When you first started, was that were the vibes like that, or do you see a significant change over the last couple of years?
You know, I do see a change post Crazy Rich. You know, that I think that really did do something for our community.
Is it also because your star has been on the rise? I mean, there's factors that can come into play.
We're out here. We are out here. I don't, you know, I literally technically started acting for real in like 2016. So like that was Crazy Rich came out 2018, and that was just me, you know, doing my best, staying afloat, all that stuff. But I guess, yeah, in those times, I do see a difference, especially in my own mentality. I think that's the biggest difference, and because collectively we've changed our mentalities, that's why we've just gotten stronger and more supportive.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's, you know, the energy you put out is what you're going to get back, right? And if you're going to be catty, if you're going to be kind of shady, it's gonna eventually come bite you right in the ass. And so I feel
100%.
like
Show love. Show love.
is the way to go for those of you guys who are watching. You know, you celebrate others
Right.
for their wins and their successes and all of that, and it's gonna come right back to you. And people don't forget that either. You know, when you're a dick to someone, or if you're, you know, acting shady, it's
To be honest, like, I'm sorry, I'm just like rambling so much right now because I just have so much to say. A lot of that, I'll be honest, and that's why I think as the Asian community, we owe the Black community in so many ways, because I see the Black community and I'm truly inspired at how much they have each other's back.
Right.
Number one.
I've always said that we were about like 5 to 10 years behind them, but continue.
Sure, yeah. I mean, even, as Asians, especially the three of us, I think we were very influenced by Black culture growing up. You know, watching. One of my favorite shows was Fresh Prince, Living Single, Girlfriends. You know what I mean? And like, of course, I was listening to all of the hip hop. You know, and like, it was such a. Well, obviously, there was also no Asian American music, also in the world. In America. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. But the point is that was always such a that always was so appealing to me, because I love the breath of fresh air that it was. Like, this community is not afraid to be themselves. You know, it is proud of who they are, and this is after they've been through so much. It's like, at the end of the day, through all the fucking racism and through all the, unequal rights, what else can you do but fucking smile? You know what I mean? And celebrate and have joy because you're alive. You know what I mean? And that truly is something about the Black community that, like, there's so many things that we've taken from them, and like what the confidence. I feel like that, it's just the being not afraid to speak up for your community and have someone's back, like something like Black Twitter, for example. Like, I was so proud when the Asian community took down Shane Gillis and actually was vocal enough to get him kicked off of SNL for saying chink. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa, we did that. Whoa, what the heck? I feel like 5 years ago, we might not have been able to do that. You know what I mean? I'm yelling. I'm actually yelling. So the point is, like, I feel like, among, many things of the Black community leading movements, like, the Immigration Act of 1965, like, now it's our turn to have their backs. And that's why it's so important for us to be allies in all of this, because it truly, the Black community has influenced me and my people immensely.
I feel like we were talking earlier about like these bubbles, and I feel like it's true for a lot of different communities, but I feel like in general, at least for me, especially being half Asian, I have definitely felt like in this town, even these like bubbles where it's like, I don't know if it's like a cultural thing in other Asian backgrounds as well, but it's kind of, you keep to yourself, like worry about yourself, like just like you said, work hard, do what you do. And so I'm someone who kind of like, there are a lot of different communities that I feel at home in and that I have something in common, but I'm not fully that, like I'm half Japanese. I was raised in Asia, but I'm half Japanese. So Sherry, actually before you, I felt very like not included in the Asian community, not in auditions, not in anything. Like I felt very not included. Like you were the first, like Curtis brought me in, but it was never like oh, we're going to Asian events, like come be part of the community, because we were in Vancouver and just working. But with you, it was like, hey, there's this event, like come, like we're including you. You are part of us. Come enjoy. And then, also like I'm bisexual. I'm not lesbian. I like men. I like women. And so again, I don't like fully fit in that community. And like touching on you talking about this confidence and this like how Black people have each other's back so much, I attribute so much of the confidence that I have as an adult to the Black community. When I was 16, I moved to Missouri and I had no friends. I was this weird girl who had just moved from Hawaii wearing flip-flops and a flower in her hair in mid-Missouri in October, and it's freezing and everyone's like, what? So for 6 months, I had no friends. I ate lunch by myself every day. Like it was the first time I saw any sort of segregation. Asians sat together, and in Columbia, Missouri, there's a large Cambodian population. So it was like the Cambodians sat together, the white kids sat together, and the Black kids sat together. And obviously, I wasn't white enough, and I was too weird to sit with the white kids. I wasn't Asian enough to sit with Asian kids, and I'm not Black. So I ate lunch by myself every day. And then a guy, this black guy in my performing arts class saw that I could dance. I forget what, we were playing music and just freestyling. And there's this huge dance competition at the school that was like the talk of school. And so he's like, I want you to choreograph for us, so on and so forth. And I was so excited to have something to do after school besides sit at my grandma's house. So I went, and at first, like, I was not super welcomed. And as soon as like they saw that we have something in common and that I can dance and I had rhythm and they liked my moves, I was so like engulfed and welcomed into the Black community that for the last 2 years of high school and the year after, the Black community was my community. All of my friends were Black, like that was, and it I feel like that is where so much of my confidence comes from, being surrounded by that, like feeling so a part of something, and every single person is so confident to like speak up if they need to speak up. And I attribute so much of who I am now to that.
That energy is everything.
If I can add to that too, it's for me, I can appreciate that, because for me it was playing basketball. I mean, because growing up, I think the earliest kind of music that I was really into was pop music, like boy bands and stuff like that, BSB, NSYNC, what have you. But then once I started really getting into hip hop, it was music, it was fashion, clothes, and it was ball all day, every day. And majority of my closest friends were met through that. But what I loved about that was that we celebrated each other's, expression. We encouraged each other to express ourselves through how we dressed, through how we spoke, how, if some of us rapped, we would write rhymes, and then that on the basketball court. So it's very similar, you know what I mean? And how they embraced me. A lot of my friends were Black as well, or mixed actually, but so there was we were like a really nice, diverse group that were just into the same things. And a lot of that was kind of around hip hop culture and all that, but it's a very expressive culture, which I cannot deny.
Yeah.
And it's bled into my DNA. A lot of who I am today is because of Black culture.
Right. It's honestly a beautiful thing that we can actually like be aware of this, and like, yeah, I feel like we owe them a lot, because Asians are stereotyped to not speak up and to be quiet. I want to shatter that. I want to shatter it, like just seeing what the Black community is doing right now for their people. Like, I want to do that for them as well. And also for my own people. Like, I want us to be that, strong and you know what I mean? Just etc. like that. It's very inspiring, truly.
Let me ask you this. Sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead.
Well, I'm going to get into something else if you want to.
Oh, I was just going to say that, like, I think, like, you see how much the Black community is being able to get done now. And could you imagine if the whole Asian community could stand up and each of our individual communities could stand up, not just for ourselves, but if we could all stand together, how much we could actually get done,
It'd be like Avengers, where like they all come together at the end.
Yeah.
I feel like, I'll get into this later, but I feel like we're almost there. But I feel like there's still so much ground to cover as far as.
There's so much. But, seeing that there is change happening because of the fight, like, kind of gives you hope that, okay, like, we're doing something.
Right.
We're doing something. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So, as both of you guys, as, wonderful talents that are on the come up, right? And you guys have, both have had, incredible successes in your own right. But after seeing everything that we've seen in the past 6 months, right? So I can only speak for myself. For me, I've really had to kind of do a self audit. I've had to check myself on a lot of shit, a lot of my own biases growing up, from my own culture, from the people that I've been surrounded with, whatever. And one of the things that I came across that I noticed was a lot of the things that, even though it was cool and it was within a safe place of like my group of friends, because like I said, all of my friends were all very ethnically diverse, right? I had Black friends, I had East Indian friends, white friends, Asian friends, Italian, whatever. So a lot of how we connected and how we came together was by making fun of each other and of each other's cultures, and ripping each other for stereotypes and this and that. Now, Sherry, as a comic, I'm curious because, for yourself, you've And actually, surprisingly, a lot of the black comedy nights that I go to, and then a lot of the Asian comedy comics that I've seen, a lot of it is ripping ourselves and our own culture and our own stereotypes, right? But again, after what we've just been through in the past 6 months, do you think will your comedy change at all? Like, can you still? Here's what I'm trying to get at. The very things that I used to joke about, that I used to enjoy, kind of making fun of or whatever, I'm now realizing that, as someone that's somewhat of a public figure now, I have a responsibility to uphold. I feel like personally, moving forward, I don't want to rip myself, my own culture, or my fellow Asian man or woman, because that's going to set an example for other people to think it's okay.
Right.
Has that come across?
No. I totally understand the question. And I have thought about this many times. I'm like,
Okay.
damn, like, after all we've been through, after all we've seen, can I even use any of my old material? Not that it was offensive in the race sense, but it's like, it feels insignificant. You know what I mean? Now that we've gone through this, how am I supposed to talk about masturbation? You know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell? You know, like, I almost feel like my
actually very important during
right.
Very.
I mean, listen, my vibrator is a toothpick at this point. But yeah, it's like, I should be smarter with my comedy. I should say things that are actually educationally funny, instead of just talking about making fun of Skrillex or whatever the hell I do. You know what I mean? I'm like, if anything, it's in that way. Yeah, I'm pretty much thinking, are all of my jokes like expired now, which is totally fine. But in terms of making fun of yourself, that's a tough one, you know, because that's the whole thing of like, well, we want to be in a world where we can make fun of ourselves, because I'm like, yo, I got this. Like, you don't need to make fun of my people, because I know the most about my people and I have the right to make fun of my people. You know what I mean? Like, we've earned that because we've experienced it. In terms of other people, making fun of other people, that's the thing. Comedy is so freaking fluid. It's so fluid. It literally depends on the joke, which is weird. And until it goes viral for being offensive, you don't even know. You know what I mean? But for me, like, it's just truly, comedy is so fluid, like that, you know.
I couldn't help but to notice it. Like, the last time I was because I was living right by the Laugh Factory when I was in LA. And the last night that I went to, I forget, I think it was a chocolate sundaes.
Love chocolate sundaes.
No, maybe I went once more. I went to go see Jeremy Piven, and who kind of opened up for him? What's the name of the guy that's in Silicon Valley?
Jimmy O Yang?
No.
TJ Miller?
TJ Miller. He's hilarious, by the way. But I noticed that, like, I couldn't help but to clock it, because again, these are 90% of the conversations I was having at the time. Everybody, person at Trader Joe's, to the people at the gym, to my agents, to friends, you know, race was it's a heavy issue in the States, right? But I couldn't help but notice every single comic up there, whether they're white, black, Hispanic, most of their jokes were ripping on their own kind. They were going on the stereotypes of white people, black people, you know, Spanish people. So I just found that really interesting. I'm like,
Well, the thing is, like, you write what you know.
Exactly.
If you grow up with a mom that always gave you exactly 3 dumplings every day or something and send you off to school, you're gonna want to talk about that. You know, you're gonna end up making fun of your mom. You're gonna end up, you know, it's just all, I mean, you know, there's been 1 million+ jokes in the history of comedy, you know, and like, some of them don't land, some of them are risky, some of them, it's very interesting. Like, I personally, it's interesting, you know. I have I don't know, that's such a, I'm not sure, you know, because first of all, shout out to chocolate sundaes, and also Crack 'em Up Thursdays. Like another way that I feel very embraced by the Black community is being able to perform on those stages, you know, that those specific shows. And it's just like
rail battle.
right. At the end of the day, like if you're funny, you're funny, you know, and like that is just but comedy is subjective. Is that the word? Or subjective, right? Where it's opinion based.
And it's very fluid.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
it's going to differ
It's a tough one.
Person to person.
I mean, I'll say as someone,
be tasteful. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like as someone who's not a comic, I am not funny. I can't tell a joke to save my life. From the outside looking in, like something that I really enjoyed, Sherry, watching you, because like, you know, when I watch, I'll watch comedians who are not Asian make Asian jokes, and they're usually really boring and stupid and unintelligent and just like uninspired, and it's just like ugh. And I was always like, why? Like I would love a good Asian joke, but like make it actually good, like not that like we're bad drivers or like that's not funny, like that's stupid. And so when I saw you, like you have a lot of jokes about your family members and things like that who happen to be Asian, and so they become Asian jokes, but they were again inspired, they were intelligent, they were informed, and so like I enjoy that. And I feel like that's the thing about when someone's ripping on their own race or talking about their people is like, again, it's intelligent, it's informed, it's interesting. Right. And I think like also the fact that you're making fun of it, to me anyway, other people may have different perspectives and take it in differently, to me shows like not everyone is like this, just like this person in my life is like that. And a lot of people, you know, like maybe a lot of grandmothers are like that because of that generation. Right. Instead of being like all Asian people in the world are like this and all white people in the world are like this. And because it becomes more specific, so it still has that context of like, it's a specific person, this person acts that way, or this person's behavior is informed by their background, the fact that they're Asian, or the fact that they're white, or the fact that they're Black, and what they've been through. But like, this is also pretty funny.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And that, you actually bring up a really good point where comedy should not be generalized, it should be personalized. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like when it comes from that POV, as opposed to like all, you know what I mean, Chinese people do this, like, no, this is my specific experience, and it's funny because it happened to me. You know what I mean? I think, yeah, there's definitely a line. I think that's what there's a line. You know what I mean?
The same applies to really film and TV, right? If you're a writer, you're trying to write some, you know, new original content. I mean, really and truly, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing you can write about that's going to be 100% new and original. But all you can offer is your own experience and your own POV, right? Just the last thing on that topic. So, Aylya, as a parent, are you like overly conscious or aware of what you say or what you joke about around Cash?
Definitely. I mean, I think for me, I'm doing my best to like shape his view of the world, right? And so like, we talk about certain things, and like most of our, I mean, he's 6, you know, most of our jokes are about like fart jokes, or he's trying to Dutch oven me, or like he says something and I'm like, that's not funny, but sure, we'll all laugh. Why not? And I'm a very sarcastic person. So if you know me, I'm a very sarcastic person. And so he's starting to learn sarcasm a little bit. Sometimes he's like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, buddy, it's not real. It's sarcasm. Come on, follow me here. But for the most part, I feel like joke wise, I don't think we joke about like too much unless it's in a space where like we can joke to normalize something, not to make fun of it, but to be like so normal that we can like, it doesn't have to be a serious conversation. Right. You know, like I'm trying to think of an example. I mean, again, this isn't really a joke, but we did have some like laughs and like a good like time. We had to talk. I was earlier dating someone who was non-binary, and obviously like he never met them, but we had a conversation. It was like a really nice kind of segue in way, because he would see like their pictures on my phone, or like when they would call or FaceTime and stuff, and he would ask like who that was. And you know, we ended up having like a really good conversation about like non-binary, transgender, like the queer community, so on and so forth, like lesbians, being gay, and like what that means. And like it got to a point where like I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but a picture of someone or someone popped up and like he made a joke. The way I explained being non-binary or using the pronoun they them was like, I was like, they on the inside and the outside, they're not fully, they're not just a girl or just a boy. They're a boy and a girl, and they're one person. So that's why, because he asked about like the plural, how like them, they is plural. And so that's how I explained it to him. Like, it's like both in one. And he's like, oh, okay, I get it. Like them. And I was like, yeah. And so like was joking about how like mommy's talking to two people, like to them. And like, he always likes to correct people. And like, he thinks that's very funny. Like if someone slips and calls them a she, then he's like, them, like you're wrong. You don't get it. And like, we like, so it's like playful, not necessarily like a joke and definitely not making fun of it, but getting to a point where like, it's just such a normal thing that like, you're silly for not knowing that. Like,
right.
Like that kind of thing.
You're killing it as a mom, yo.
Thanks.
Killing it.
I'm trying, you know.
I love that. He's the sweetest little boy I've ever fucking seen. I'm
Thank
cussing, by the way. I've said the F word like 8 times. Sorry.
I have two.
You know that this is for my church, right?
This is gonna be on Disney Plus.
Anyways, moving on. Last thing I want to touch on, guys, is so that was great, by the way. So now that we've had, what is it, 3-4 months, around there since COVID's hit in the lockdown, what's changed in terms of your outlook or what you guys are passionate about, or because things have opened up back in Vancouver, but I think things are slowly getting back to eventually opening up in LA. I'm curious as to where you guys are at in terms of headspace coming back into the game, because I know for me a lot has changed. I've taken this time to really kind of unplug and really find the love again in just life. And I've realized that I had such an imbalance with career and life, and it was so career driven. I was so career driven that like I couldn't. All the other details in my life were just completely overlooked, and they fell by the wayside. And I'm taking this time to really plug back into myself and fill it all up with joy and shit that I really enjoy doing, things that actually get me going. I fight for the things that I'm truly passionate about, and finding the passion in every little thing I do as well. So, but how that's informed me is, okay, now coming back into the game, I'm not going to sweat certain things anymore. And I'm going to really be focused for very specific things. Where are you guys at with that?
Me? I think like, so I'm a single mom. Dad's not around. He has been around a few times since our divorce, but not fully. In all intents and purposes, it's me.
So she's
and also like in my family, my mother lives with me, and like I for my friends, I'm the person that you can call if you need something. Like you get a flat tire, I can change it for you. Like you need something, I got you. You're broke right now, that's fine, let's go to lunch, I got you. Like I always try to be like that person that is like there. And so I spend a lot of time, and it does bring me joy. Like being a rock or a sense of strength or being able to help other people does bring me joy. Right. But because I always feel like I have to be this like strong person and I have to get like 50 million things done. Like I have an ex who was just like, I don't know how you do all of that in one day. And I'm like, because I just keep going. Like I don't give myself a minute. And so for me, I think the biggest thing that's come out of this whole quarantine and COVID is like, I've had to slow down and like look at myself. I've had more time for like spirituality and that kind of stuff. And like some good has happened, like some really good experiences have happened. And also some like good in the long run, but don't feel so good experiences have happened. Some past traumas that had been repressed have come to the surface, and I'm kind of dealing with those right now. But like, it's good to feel, and there have been like lots of tearful conversations with my family in terms of like, this is what I'm dealing with, I need support, and so on and so forth. And so I think like, even in the times that have not felt so good, I know that it's like a building and a growth moving forward and stuff that I can deal with. And I think that like, when things start up again, especially now that I feel like I have the support of my family, it's like I need to have time. Like not time where my son's at school and my mom's gone and I spend the time cleaning the house or like organizing the garage or running errands or walking around Target for 2 hours for no good apparent reason. But like time where I really like
You time.
Yeah, where I deal with myself.
Mm.
You know? Like make sure that I have that time, because I've always like tried to do self-care and stuff like that, but there's just some things that you can't solve or fix or like work on in an hour or 2 hours of your day. You know, it's like shit that you need to like go away and be able to just let go. Ugly cry if you need to ugly cry, you know? Like
A good friend of mine said this to me once, and it really hit home. Sometimes you got to be, I mean, I think this applies for someone like you too. Sometimes you got to be selfish in order to be selfless. And you are a very selfless person, and you're right. I think sometimes you gotta make sure your own battery is charged before you can go out and give other people a bit of yours, you know?
yeah.
Ooh!
So like
Gems. Y'all are dropping gems. I can't even. I don't even know, because all the wisdom. I'm just soaking that in. For me, it's just kind of, because I'm kind of a combination of both, where I do feel the need to be there for everyone in my life / so career driven that I don't take 5, you know? So this was very much, you know, a shocking experience, quarantine, and just kind of realizing that I maybe take something for granted, you know, because yeah, the human, I don't know, just in terms of the career driven thing, I guess I just never let myself take 5, you know? So after this, I kind of want to go on vacation. Like I literally have not seen much of the world, you know? Like I want to take my mom to freaking Santorini, you know what I mean? Like I think things like that, kind of realizing that work isn't everything. And yeah, you have to take care of yourself and do things that you enjoy, things that will fill your cup of life experiences, you know what I mean? And also hang out with mom more, you know? That's pretty much it.
I mean, for, you know, as comics, as actors, as musicians, whatever, a lot of what we have to offer is our own experiences, right? We take our own experiences and we kind of, we churn out another product that fits either a character or something like that, right? Or for a gig or for a laugh. And I think that seems to be the common denominator between a lot of people that I'm speaking to, is that we forget that we need to take care of ourselves and we need to also experience things ourselves. And the problem with this industry is that they're so good at dangling this thing in front of you, saying, look, you know, we need this by tomorrow, and if you get it, you're going to be on a plane in 3 days to like in the middle of nowhere, and you're going to shoot for 4 months, and then when you're, you know, and it's just like a never-ending thing.
Yeah.
We don't have time to take a second for ourselves and think, what do I need, or, you know what I mean? And so this time is, I think, is so important to really try to empower yourself and get what you need so that you can come back stronger. So like you're saying, you're thinking about vacation. So you've been busy throughout this time, but as the auditions start trickling back in, how does that affect you then? Are you like, oh shit, I'm not going to do this just yet? Or
yeah, I get what you mean. Cause like, we're like, oh, I don't want to leave town. Cause what if, you know, you just have to do it, I guess. I'm just gonna, you know, well, first of all, I'm grateful to have a job when the quarantine is over. You know what I mean? I'm truly like, I have nothing to complain about right
now. Good trouble.
Yes. So when all the world shutdown ends and we're back to, you know, work, I do have a show that I'm on. So I actually haven't been getting that many auditions anyway. I mean, for that specific, yeah, you know what I mean. But the point is, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm honestly freaking grateful. And I just need to remember that, like, I can also take a break and enjoy and like put down my phone and not think about how I'm going to get a star on the Walk of Fame. You know what I mean? Like for 2 seconds.
I can get you one if you want. I know a guy.
You figure it out.
Can we get a buy 2 get 1 free?
Yeah. 3.
I love the deal.
Hey,
Love it too.
shout outs to Good Trouble, by the way. I love Good Trouble. I've had a few friends on that show, but we were just talking about this just now. One of the reasons I love Good Trouble is they have not one but two Asian sisters on the show.
Yo, legit, like not only that, but like we have Ken Kirby, who's in the another world on the same show, and we have like
Shout outs to Ken Kirby.
and our pilot was directed by John M. Chu, iconic. Literally couldn't believe my vision board came true, and just little things like that. I was like, wow, okay, respect. Good Trouble. Yeah, hell yeah.
You guys were talking about earlier about how like going from seeing like there's only room for one to now like being like, no, we're all in this together. I feel like it's true that the more really good Asian actors there are, the more that we show up on screen and we're good, then the more like roles will become, right? Like if the demand meets the need, then it'll push it further. And then you'll have shows that have multiple, to the point that like, that it won't have to be an Asian show to have a bunch of Asian people, that the Asian people won't. Oh, I mean, one thing that Curtis and I talked about on Siren was there were 3 Asian people on the show during season 1, and well, 2.5. And none of us dated. None of us were family. Like, what? That was like, I was like, this is amazing.
No.
What? This is insane.
That's so cool. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we just want to be taken seriously as real people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just relatable humans. You know, as much as it's dope to also highlight our culture, you know, all the time whenever we can, it's also nice to just be treated as someone who experiences life. You know what I mean? And like that's why I'm excited about this, you know, increase in representation. Of course, we have so much more to go, you know, but you know, little things like, you know, I mean, little girls will see our shows and think they can be actresses, which is great. You know, a dream is no longer just a dream, like it's achievable. And Freeform is honestly a really amazing place to be, because they make sure every audience member is not left out. You know what I mean? So
it's a good time right now. I mean, I'm sure you guys have had your fair share of this question, but like I was getting sick of the sort of like borderline micro aggressive question of like, oh, what's it like being an Asian actor? That must be tough.
Sure.
Right? And I don't know, like if you guys can speak on it from a female perspective, but like certainly for us guys, it was tough for a very long time because there was nothing that we could have done that was ever good enough. It seemed like,
Right.
you know, it was like we'd wait around until that one show needs their Chinatown episode because they've exhausted every other storyline. So somehow they end up in Chinatown. So that's when we all come to work. And, you know, it got to a point where it's like, man, we gotta start creating our own stuff. And we gotta, you know.
Yeah. Which is honestly, like, I got some shit up my sleeve, y'all. Stay tuned.
Let me know.
We're available.
We'll be in touch. But yeah, so it truly it's up to us, you know, and we're doing it. We are absolutely doing.
It's a good time. Would you say it's a good time right now to be an Asian American, or not even Asian American, Asian girl right now coming into this game of acting and entertainment?
There's always ups and downs to everything. But yeah, I feel like just speaking on how, you know, we have the sisterhood, we have the empowerment, and we're leaving that catty competitive stuff behind, and we are seeing more opportunities. I think, yeah, I mean, it's a solid time to jump into this if you want to do it, you know. So that's my advice. Go for it. Join us, because literally this island has no capacity.
No.
And it's so much more fire than the Fire Festival, we promise.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
Home
I feel
cooked meals, Asian home cooked meals.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's funny that most of like I have a couple dishes that I make, but my favorite dishes and like the best ones I make are all Asian. And also I'm Japanese, but like they're not Japanese, they're Indonesian, because that's where I lived for 12 years growing up. Which I think is really
like
funny.
what, nasi goreng?
Tumis and
Tumis?
rendang. Yeah.
Hello. Hundi P. Hundo P.
I've had like a really interesting experience because like, again, I'm half Asian and like, I think that when you look at me, you can tell that I'm Asian, but I'm also covered in freckles. I don't know if you can
Love
see
the
them.
freckles. See, you have those like stunning freckles. I have the I don't respect sunscreen freckles. You know what I mean?
But
And,
I literally walked into casting offices and like walked in like, hey guys, and before my audition starts, you're not Asian enough. And I'm like,
Wow.
that's out of this world. Just to even say that is like not cool.
uh,
That's
yeah, I
so
feel like there's definitely like a fine line between like obviously we want representation and obviously like there are certain like roles that really should be fulfilled by someone who is specifically that. But at the same time, I feel like it is also acting. And I feel like as long as there's some, like, to me anyway, again, my perspective, maybe it's different because I am half Asian, but like to me, I feel like unless it is something about that is like a historically important role to someone's culture, if it's just like, you know, there's a family and they're dating someone and whatever, unless it's like super specific, I feel like, and like the defining factor of that character, then I feel like there should be room, you know. It's like this is, you know, like an Asian person, but they don't have to be 100% Chinese to be a part of this like group of people.
Right.
yeah, it's definitely case by case. Definitely case by case. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what the next sort of phase with casting around that will be, because obviously we're in a time right now where representation is I think at the forefront, and a lot of people are very aware and cognizant of it. But there's got to be that too, right? We have to have a balance of good actors and good representation. Now, the good representation is going to come from obviously more opportunities, so that, you know, the rest of us can work and get better and challenge each other, right? So it'll be interesting. I can say for sure though, like what blew me away, I was helping out a casting director for the To All the Boys I've Loved Before Netflix project, and it brought me so much joy to walk out into that waiting room and to see dozens of like 8, 9, 10-year-old little Asian girls with their mothers, like being 100% fully on board, supporting them and like running the lines with them and like loving them and like, you know, and I was just like, wow, look how far we've come. Like I never had that growing up. You know?
And we're gonna see that more and more.
Good too. These girls are actually really good, and so the next generation after us, they're gonna be the real game changers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
In every way, in entertainment and activism, etc. Like I truly have a lot of faith in this like next generation. Like how just dope they are.
They don't need handouts. They're already just gonna be that damn good where you can't deny them. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Not that we do, but yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, I'm hopeful, y'all. The future is bright, y'all, and I'm very stoked that you two are my peers, and we're out here together, and it's gonna be magical.
No doubt, no doubt. Before I let you guys go, I got a little challenge for you guys.
Okay.
You up for a little fun?
Let's do it.
So obviously there's a lot of bullshit in the world going on right now, and something that my friend Johnson and I, whenever we're together, what we like to do is we like to do what we call dinging people, where we will do sort of random acts of kindness wherever we can, whether it's, you know, usually we'll pick someone random to buy them, you know, at a restaurant, we'll pick up their tab, buy them a dinner, or buying a coffee for the next person in line, or what have you. What's something that, like, do either of you guys have friends or a charity you're hip to that we could, you know, put some balance into the world and positivity back out there and make someone's day? Or is there someone we can shout out or reach out to?
I mean, I've just been honestly doing the donating to orgs that, you know, need it. Like, if anything, just spreading the word, I think, is an act of kindness. You know, retweeting, you know, a GoFundMe, or retweeting, you know, an organization that has been very active but clearly have no actual funds. You know what I mean? I think donating as much as you can. Honestly, like I understand that like you can't donate to every single cause, but if you just spread the word, I think that's definitely kind. And just getting
we could do together right now. Obviously, we're not in the same place, but something we can do virtually.
Oh,
Do virtually.
we could shout out. I mean,
Should we
what do you mean? Like,
write links on this later?
Pardon me?
I said, could we put like links to
While the three of us are here right now together, whose life could we improve right now?
there's no right answer, right? Because the way that you're saying it is as if there's like a right answer.
No, that was just I'm just throwing that out there, like you know.
I mean, I'm doing this food delivery service next week.
Dope.
I mean, let me see if I could pull up the info on that. Basically, you deliver like 200 meals. My homegirl Mickey.
We should randomly select one of your fans. We should randomly select one of your fans and just see if like they have something going that we could support, or like just say what up. I'm sure they would just love. You would make their day by saying hello.
That's true.
The smile can go a long way. You have no idea.
Oh, interesting. What if I just call my mom and say I love her?
Aw, I like that. I'm here for it.
Okay, I'm just gonna do that real quick, because then the fan stuff, like, it might take a while for them to reply. You know what I mean? And we're on the clock here.
Let's all call our moms at the same time and say I love you.
My
Right.
mom's downstairs. Should I just yell really loud?
Huh?
Wait, what?
My mom is downstairs. Should I just yell really loud?
Oh my God, that'd be funny if you brought her in the camera. I'm calling my mom.
I'm calling my mom.
I'm gonna go speaker. We're just gonna have all our moms on speaker.
You go on
Okay.
speaker.
Are you going to whiny?
No, but Gigi, mommy. Mommy, 我就当刘本龙刚. I love you. Just wanted to call mommy and say I love you.
Yeah, no, mom. I was just calling to say I love you.
Yeah, mommy. Okay, love you, mommy. Okay, bye.
Love you.
Miss you, mommy. Love you. Bye. Bye.
My mom's on the phone.
Oh, watch it. Don't worry. It's your pusa boy. Okay, love you. Bye. Bye. You know what's so funny?
My mom's like, I'm busy. What do you want?
Hilarious. No, immediately my mom was like, did you book it? Hi, Bob. Oh my goodness. You're the most handsome little boy I've ever seen.
Hi,
What are you eating?
morning round.
A little piece of bread.
Oh, a little bun.
Yeah.
Look at that hair, Cash. It's growing back.
Happy Thursday, little guy.
It's Friday, isn't it?
Tell you I love you.
Why do you have to bring me all the way over here?
So they called their moms, but Tutu is on the phone downstairs. So I figured I'd just bring you.
We love you, Cash.
Oh, we love you so much. You're so cute. You're the best. And honestly, your mom is everything. Number one. You two are the number one mother-son combo in the world. I said it.
He made this shirt.
I second that.
Oh, how cute. I love tie-dye.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's the smartest.
That's a
He's like,
perfect
"Can I-"
wrap up, guys. That was pretty
Cash.
cool, not gonna lie.
He's like, can I leave? Can I leave now?
All right. No, you know what's so funny? Right when my mom answered the phone, she didn't even say hello. She was like, "Did you book it?" Because I've literally been waiting to hear about something.
Oh my God. Yo, I can't even tell my mom about things anymore.
I see. I'm very much like all about Buddhism and stuff, so I have to call her to make sure she prays and all that stuff. We gotta get on the same wavelength. But yeah, that's so funny. That was cute. That's
You're
a cute.
like, no, not quite, but I love you.
Oh, but I love you. She's like, oh, well,
You had good news.
Well,
But that was a fun challenge, my dear. Thank you so much.
this concludes our first episode. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you guys again. Be well. Keep killing it. I look forward to seeing what's next for you guys because I know it's going to be dope.
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
Keep doing you.
Yes. Cheers. Mwah. Thank you,
Yellow
Curtis.
magic. Yellow magic.
Bye.